ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, January 12th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Glad to be with you. Our text line is open at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got a lot to get into from the weekend. Of course, we got NFL football continuing tonight here. Going to be the Steelers, Monday Night Football, taking on the Texans. And, of course, we've got the road to the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl exclusively right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and our sister station as well, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Of course, a busy weekend. Marshall Sports, the Thundering Herd on the women's side, getting the victory over Coastal Carolina and going for now its 11th consecutive victory when it's back in action this week, beating Coastal Carolina. And so the Thundering Herd undefeated in conference play. That's good. The men's team losing to Georgia State. That's the one we got to get into. 81-73. And the problem here was the foul situation. Absolutely killed the Thundering Herd. There's nothing you can really say about that game other than the foul situation killed the Thundering Herd. And Marshall did not play its best game of basketball. So we're going to open up our text line for you at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If you heard Coach's comments on Saturday, talked about the team didn't deserve to win, that Georgia State didn't do anything really. He gave them credit for the win, but they didn't do anything on offense, pointed out that it was Marshall that really lost that game. So he had some interesting things to say. He just wrapped up his presser not that long ago, so I wasn't able to attend because I had to get ready and be here. I couldn't make it from there to here in enough time. So as soon as that's made available, we'll try to get that on for you. If not, we'll have a little bit of it tomorrow, and definitely looking ahead to Wednesday as we're going to be back at the Cam Henderson Center. And I've also got tickets. We're back home. 4 straight games at home, so I'm going to have tickets for the game. I'm going to give you a chance to win those today and tomorrow, and all you have to do is text to win, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Also, make it interesting. That's the big thing. I'm not going to try to make you jump through hoops. I'm not going to ask you a, hey, what do you think, type of question of the day. No, but just how we do this, if you haven't tuned in a while, make it interesting. Be engaging. Be yourself. That's what I'm looking for, really. I'm looking for more of the engagement than anything, to talk to you and get your thoughts on what happened over the weekend. So, I'm not going to make you answer any particular question, not today anyway. I'm just not in the mood. I'd rather just talk about this game. So we'll do that. And again, that text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can also find me on X at Paul Swann, and I appreciate a follow there if you're on and you haven't followed me yet. So looking forward to talking to you. But the Herd now dropping to 11-6, 3-2 in league play. Marshall still not that far behind. That's the good news. But the bad news is that Marshall just made it a little bit harder for it to win at least the conference championship on the regular season side, or at the same time, you want to get into one of those top 4 spots. I think if you're not going to win the conference championship, you want to be in the top 4. You want to make sure that you're bracketed so you can actually make a run, and you don't have to start from day 1, day 2. You don't want to do that in this tournament. I mean, we've seen where it's possible Marshall's women were able to do it last year, but if Marshall continues to win on the women's side, they're going to look really good. For that tournament, they're going to be one of those tough teams. So right now, Marshall's net didn't take too much of a hit, but it did drop. Marshall's net right now is 140. Arkansas State is at 130, and Troy is 127. So the net didn't go down too far, but still you're getting close to 150. And Marshall needs to probably get that elevated as best as it possibly can. Georgia State's net is 278. So that's where the Thundering Herd's net is right now. 140. And Coastal Carolina, since we're here, 250. So almost we got like a 100+ difference, 110-point difference between net. So this is an important game for the Thundering Herd. You got to win these games. You got to win all the games, but at this same point in time, it's now being a little bit more imperative that you start winning more. You've lost a good one against Troy. That's fine. And then you get into a game which I'm going to be quite blunt with you. And I try to be as objective and neutral as I possibly can. That's my goal. And I know that rubs some people wrong because you want me to be this uber homer, and I can't do that. I just can't. But at the same time, we all know I went to Marshall. I do the Marshall pre and post game on the local side of things. I'm not pulling against the Thundering Herd, but I'm not this uber homer. So I'm not going to go out and just say, hey, you outlandish statements like, Marshall lost to this team. It was terrible they lost to. No, Georgia State's not terrible, but Marshall should have won that game. And I will say that quite bluntly. Marshall should have won that game. And I like Georgia State. I like the program. I like what they're trying to do. And I give them credit for they don't roll over. This isn't a team that's terrible. It's proficient in some places. And it's very good at free throw shooting. And that's on the scout. You knew that. And you've seen this team once already. And I don't know how you fix this short term and long term. How do you fix this? Is it a personnel issue? Do you have to change up your personnel a little bit? Is it lapses in judgment? What is it that's really haunting the Herd? Because we've seen this basically happen to the Herd before, and it's bitten Marshall now in this game. And so now you've got to get ready for Coastal Carolina coming into the Henderson Center on Wednesday. And I think it should be a win for the Thundering Herd. I don't think that this Georgia State loss erases any of my confidence in Marshall to go out and play and win a basketball game. But you lost when you shouldn't. And I think that has to be said. This was a game you shouldn't have lost. As homer as that might sound, as boisterous as that might sound, you shouldn't have lost this game. And so, what do? You lose the game. You learn from it. You hopefully learn from the game. So we'll break that down with you. We'll get into our text line. That's coming up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But on the flip side, the Marshall women, again, winning its 10th straight contest. Blessing King is going to come on the show tomorrow. I asked earlier today if we could get someone on from women's basketball, and Blessing is available. So we're going to talk to Blessing tomorrow. Blessing's great. She actually has she wants to do this. She wants to be in some sort of broadcasting role in her career. So she's pretty good at this already. So we're going to have her on tomorrow to talk about where the team's at right now, what this run's meant for her, and just how excited she is. So we will do all of that, but I want to get the text line going. And again, I'm going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd on Wednesday, take on Coastal Carolina. And all you have to do is be a part of the show today, and I make it real easy for you. No silly jumping through hoops, no repeating words, no poll questions, none of that today. No, we just want to see if we can get you on the show to win some tickets. So 304-396-TALK is that text line, 304-396-8255. So do you agree with me? Marshall should have won that game. Am I out of line? You never want to say, hey, oh yeah, Marshall, that's a win. That's an easy win. You don't want to ever overlook an opponent. I mean, that's just suicide. And I wasn't overlooking Georgia State. I knew it would be a tough contest for the Thundering Herd, but I felt good, and I felt confident, okay, Marshall's got more talent. Marshall's seen this team. It should know how to handle this team if it stays out of foul trouble. Because you look at the stats, and we'll do that again with you if you didn't kind of join us after the game, if you were kind of disgusted and didn't want to stick around, and I get that completely. Marshall won that game, except at the free throw line. You look at the numbers, you look at the breakdown of that game, and you look at the stats, and you go, okay, well, Marshall won that game. But here are the free throws, and here's what kind of difference that made. So we'll get your text in. That's coming up. You can find me on X as well, at Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Cold weather's on its way. And what do you want on those cold, chilly evenings? A warm blanket and a hot cup of cocoa. Well, you know who else wants the same comfort? Mice. Messy, uninvited guests. They sneak in and leave droppings, chew through your food and packages. Don't let mice take over your home this fall and winter. Call K&B Pest Control. We will kill for your business. Call today, 304-523-4281. Hey, it's Big John with Parlor from Sue's Junk. Let's say you've heard the ads on the air, but you don't know anything about Sue's Junk Parlor. Tell them all about it.
Well, we have over 400 vendors here. We're open 7 days a week. Tons of booths. You could spend all day in here shopping all these amazing booths. We always say we have something for everybody, but when you come in here, it's true. And we always see when people walk in the door, they just stand there in awe. We say, first time? Yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this place was like this. It'll be your new favorite hot spot in town.
Visit Sue's Junk, 459 Camden Road, Huntington.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Monday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do that every day, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Making it fun for you today. We're going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd in action. Take it on Coastal Carolina. That's coming up on Wednesday. We're going to have the game for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on 93.7 The Dog. And if you want to go, I've got a pair of tickets for you. Just text the win. 304-396-TALK is the number to be a part of the show. So I mentioned we talk a little bit about the numbers, how Marshall, in my mind, won that game, except obviously the free throws do count. You can't separate the two. But Marshall went 25-61 in that game. 25-61. That's 41%. Georgia State was 21-54 for 38.9%. It was a little close, but Marshall still gets the edge there. Marshall beat them on the three-point line, 33.3%, and that's 10 of 30. Georgia State, on the other hand, shot 25%, 6 of 24, 4 of 15 in that first half, 27%, and then 2 of 9 in that second half for 22%. Marshall did go a little cold. 7 of 17 in the first half, 41%. And then the second half, Marshall was 3 of 13 for 23%. Still 33.3%, 10 of 13. That's better than what Georgia State did. So you won that as well. You have more makes, you have more threes, and you had, unfortunately, a couple of breakdowns. You got out-rebounded by 3. Okay, that's not the end of the world, but you lose the rebound battle 37-34. You turn the ball over 17 times. Georgia State turns it over 14. So points off turnovers, it was an 18-15 difference in favor of Georgia State. Second chance points, it wasn't too bad for the Thundering Herd. Georgia State won that battle 19-14. Marshall had 28 points in the paint. Georgia State had 26. Marshall ran a little bit better, 11-6 in favor of fast break points. Bench about the same, 32 for Georgia State, 31 for the Herd. So you look at some of the numbers here, it's a tight ball game. It's close, right? And you look at some of these numbers and you think, okay, well, Marshall edged this team, right? And you would say that, but then you look at the total rebounds. Okay, Marshall got a little beat there. Free throws. This free throw team of Georgia State, they're good. This team is good at hitting the free throws. So if you send Georgia State to the line, more than likely it's going to hit its free throws. And in the first half, shot 73%, 8 of 11. Missed 3. Okay, 8 of 11, then, that's fine. Fouls are going to happen. Marshall was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. This team was 8 of 11. Okay, nothing too out of hand, right? The second half is really when it got out of hand. 25 of 28 for 89%. Marshall shot 8 of 16 for 50%. We've talked about how this team before has gone into a lull and teams have come back. And Coach Jackson has talked about, hey, basketball teams, good basketball teams, will go on a run. It's a game of runs. And Georgia State went on a run. At one point, now, officially, the biggest run for Georgia State was 11-0. But there was a slight interruption there. But Marshall ultimately did not score but 4 points. The last 6 minutes, it was a 20-4 advantage. And really, it was an 18-2 run with like 5 minutes and 33 seconds of game clock there late. 18-2 run. And so the free throw line made a big difference. Marshall went cold. Now, again, some of that was from the free throw line. So let's not say that Georgia State just outclassed the Herd and ran up and down the court and was just sinking baskets right and left, because it wasn't. This team was 8 of 23 from the field in the second half. 35%, 2 of 9 from the three-point line. So 8 of 23 is all that Georgia State was able to do in that second half. Marshall was 12 of 32. Marshall got more looks, made a few more. Marshall just shot 38%, though. Let's call that out. 38% in that second half, 3 of 13 from the three-point line. Georgia State didn't shoot better than the Herd, even though Marshall didn't exactly light the scoreboard up. But 38%, 12 of 32, 35% for Georgia State, 8 of 23. You're 3 of 13. And see, that's the other number there. You're 3 of 13 from the three-point line. So Georgia State maybe didn't make as many baskets, hit one less three-pointer than you, but the free throw line was a 20-point difference. That's the ball game right there. Plus 20 from the free throw line. That's the ball game. And you have 3 guys foul out. Jalen Spear fouls out. Joseph Landon fouls out. Shamari Hugie fouls out. And you had Noah Schutte with 4. Bryce Slay was playing with 3. Wyatt Fricks had 3. And by the way, Fricks, he came to play. I think Schutte, I think Landon, when Landon was in there, 22 minutes, 15 points. And I'm not saying the guys didn't come to play, but he played. He played. I didn't break the film down the way Coach did, so he might have a different opinion than I do. But Landon had 15 points in that game, 4 of 6. Noah Schutte had 11 points, 4 of 11. And then Wyatt Fricks, 21 points, 10 rebounds, double-double. Had 1 assist, had a couple of blocks, 3 steals. And so 35 minutes of game time, 21 points. But then you look at where was Marshall when the scoring was happening as far as players. Fricks was on the court a lot, 35 minutes, so I expect him to have a negative number. He was -7 in the plus-minus. Noah Schutte was out there 29 minutes. I expect him to be in the negative. He was -9. Eric Harding had 1 point, 20 minutes. He's -18. Caleb Holenbeck had 6 points. He's -12 for 18 minutes. Jalen Spear, not his night, 3 points, 1 of 5. Missed all 3 from the three-point line. He was 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Had 5 rebounds. Had 8 assists, but he fouls out. He's 25 minutes. But Jalen Spear, +5. Wilson Dubinsky, -15. Drew Fuqua was +1. Landon Joseph was +7. Bryce Slay was out there 9 minutes, and he was even. Shamari Hugie was -4. And then Matt Van Komen, before he fouls out, he's +12. 6 points, 2 of 3 from the field. Unfortunately, you didn't have him in the game to really center this thing. And so if you're Coach Jackson, you look at your lineups and go, okay, maybe I gotta start some different guys, or I gotta change the rotation a little bit, or is that not even the issue here? You know, do you look at this, break it down critically, and go, okay, I gotta go with the guys that showed up in that last game, and we'll see how that works. Texter writes in and says, Paul, Georgia State shooting 17 more free throws is unacceptable. I didn't watch the game, but was Marshall that much more aggressive and committed that many more fouls? Marshall committed, for the game, 33 fouls. And I think some of those were just stupid mistakes. I mean, I really can't outline one thing. It was spread across. I mean, guys were just making bad reads. Guys were just going after things when they shouldn't have. It really was just, and this is from Coach. Coach said in his postgame after the game, Marshall deserved to lose. Said that they were silly fouls. Also said they didn't do anything on offense, talking about Georgia State. So 22 free throws for Marshall, 39 for Georgia State, and Georgia State hit more, had more, and hit more. This was a team on the scout. If you put them on the line, they're going to score. Texture says, and both teams had the same equal amount of points in the paint. Yeah. 28-26. I mean, this is as close as it gets without being identical. That was in favor of the Herd. And so, points off turnovers, really, it didn't factor too much into this. It didn't help, but 18-15 in favor of Georgia State. But again, that's a number that Coach really looks at. You know, how many assists did Marshall have? 17. How many turnovers did Marshall have? 17. So that's even. But as far as the turnover battle is concerned, you're -3 because Georgia State had 3 less than you. Texter says, Paul, I still think Marshall is a better team than Georgia State, and I can beat them in the tournament if we need to, as long as we can make our foul shots and limit stupid fouls. Also, kudos to the women's team and their 10th straight win. These ladies are tough and resilient. I appreciate the thoughts. Thank you. I agree with that 100%. There's nothing today that makes me think that this Marshall team can't win consistently in this league. And this is a game that I'm going to scratch my head and say, for the next few weeks, that's one you let get away. And you didn't get beat by Georgia State. You beat yourself. And we're not going to harp on this for weeks on end. I'm not going to bring this up. It's not going to be like an albatross hanging from Coach's neck. But this is a bad game. Now, you follow this up with several wins. You got 4 opportunities at home. You can stay undefeated these next couple of weeks. You can go 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. That's 4 straight. And you're right back in the picture. And you look at the schedule. Is it doable? Yeah, it's absolutely doable because here are the next 4 opponents coming in. Coastal Carolina, which I think Marshall can beat. JMU, which I know Marshall can beat. ULM, if Marshall can't beat ULM, we got problems. And then I think South Alabama is going to be a challenge. South Alabama will be a challenge. Of the 4 teams coming in, I'm not overlooking any of them, but South Alabama will be the toughest of the 4. I think Coastal will probably be the next of the 4. And then I think JMU will be tough, only because Marshall's seen them. Marshall knows about them. They know about Marshall. And then ULM is just having a horrible season. ULM will put up a fight, but Marshall should win that game. And again, all of these games are at the Henderson Center. So they should be winnable. Marshall should go on a 4-0 run here. Should. Now, I'm not jinxing the team, I hope. I don't believe in the broadcaster jinx. And honestly, it might be a little arrogant for me to say, yeah, Marshall should win these next 4 games. But you got 4 games at home against opponents that you should beat. And if you look at these teams, again, I don't know if we're going to use the net as any guidepost here, but Marshall's ahead of these teams and the net as well. It's a reflection of your wins and losses and your schedule. And Marshall is one of those top teams. Did not show that against Georgia State on Saturday, but Marshall is one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. Still, probably, and South Alabama's right there behind Marshall. South Alabama's 189 in the net. Now, again, the net will change depending on your schedule. But Coastal Carolina, as I mentioned, 250. James Madison's 228. ULM's 353. So if you look at the resumes here, Marshall's had the better resume, had the better run. But then you look at Georgia State, and Georgia State gets the victory over Marshall. And so explain that to me. On paper, Marshall should have won that game. They don't play these games on paper. 304-396, it's our text line, 304-396-8255. That's our number. You want to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, everyone that is texting in today, you've got an opportunity to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd take on Coastal Carolina on Wednesday. So if you want a shot at those tickets, it's real simple. Be a part of the show today. And again, that text line, one more time, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
Here's another Kendrick Communications Community Chatter. The Home Energy Assistance Program is open for applications for 2025-26. HEAP can help eligible Ohioans manage their heating bills. You can find applications at your local community action agency or call 1-800-582-7277.
This Kendrick Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of killer wings, great barbecue, ice-cold beer in Huntington and Milton. Check out WVBBQ.com.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with your Monday edition of The Drive. It's ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann, with our text line wide open. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Also giving you a chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd take on Coastal Carolina. That's coming up on Wednesday. We'll give you another chance to win those tickets tomorrow as well. And then for the next 4 home games, we're going to have tickets to give away every Monday, Tuesday. Next week will be a little bit different since that's going to be a Thursday game for the home game on the weekday. But we're going to give you at least a chance a day to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd. Let's go back to the text line. First up, texter says, Paul, nearly every team loses some games they feel like they shouldn't. The good ones just minimize those occurrences. As a shooting team, the Herd needs to figure out how to overcome the games where struggles hit. Everyone's going to have ugly games. The good teams win them. All right, appreciate the thought. It's positive. See, again, I think that plays into my feelings as well. Marshall won this game, except from the free throw line. Even though it wasn't an outstanding – I mean, Marshall scored 73 points. That's a little below average, but Marshall scored 73 points. Had some foul trouble that kind of – even though it's a next man up mentality, you lose Jalen Spear, you lose Joseph Landon, and I thought he had some good minutes, and you lose Matt Van Komen. Those are three key components, I think, in this game, and you lose all those guys. And thankfully, Wyatt Fricks was able to play through. He had 3 fouls. And Noah Schutte had 4. And I think Schutte, Fricks, and Landon really played some good minutes and very productive out there. I mean, the plus-minus doesn't say it for Fricks and Schutte. They were out there the longest, so unfortunately they incurred some negatives. But Joseph Landon, he was +7 out there. And I really believe in the plus-minus. It's definitely a number that I look at. Texture says, Paul, Marshall has to make the free throws when they're at the line. That's why back in the day they called them free throws. Nobody was in front of you. And I appreciate the text. And that's what Georgia State did. Georgia State hit the free throws, 33 of 39. For the game, 84.6%. The second half, where it really counted, 25 of 28 for 89%. 8 of 11 that first half for 73%, but 33 of 39. That's a plus 20 difference. Marshall in the first half, 5 of 6, 83%. 8 of 16 in the second half for 50%. Marshall hits a few more of those, it might be slightly different game. But also, Marshall fouling 33 times. Georgia State only fouled 21 times. That's it. 21 fouls for Georgia State, 33 for Marshall. And so, that's a huge difference. And this isn't just a one-time occurrence. Marshall has had these breakdowns before where the other team gets to go to the free throw line and score and win with 3 points. So that's important for me. Yeah, and I don't know how you fix that. How do you coach up consistency? Is it repetition? How do you coach up smart decision making? Is it repetition? What is it that's missing here? Because we've seen these breakdowns a few times. And so if Marshall can play with more consistency, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to have 4 games at home. They're going to have the opportunity to sleep in their own beds, go about their own routine. They don't have to travel. None of that. It should be a 4-0 homestand. It should be. And Marshall's going to need to have a 4-0 homestand because right now it's not out of anything. Look at the standings. Not by any stretch of the imagination out of anything. But right now, Southern Miss is 5-1. Arkansas State's 4-1. Georgia Southern's 4-1. And Troy is 4-1. And then you're right there with South Alabama at 3-2. And then right behind you is App State and Georgia State. All of a sudden, Georgia State has crept up and is 6-12, 3-3 in league play. There's only 1 game difference right now between you and Georgia State in the standings. So it's pretty tight. And you don't want to fall too far to the middle of this conference. Now, the chasm is wide between Marshall and ULM right now at 0-6. But you don't want to fall too far. Instead, you want to be up there because you know how this championship tournament, which is the only thing that really matters at the end of the day for Marshall's season, the only thing that really matters is how you're seeded. If you win the regular season championship, that is important because then that's going to put you in a situation where if you're the number 1 seed, you're going to be playing several days later. If you're the 12 seed, you're playing on Tuesday, March 3rd. If you're 12, 13, 11, 14, if you're one of those seeds, if you're 9, if you're 10, you're playing on Wednesday, March 4th. If you're the 8 or 7 seed, you're playing on Thursday, March 5th. If you're a 6 seed or you're a 5 seed, you're playing on Friday. If you're a 4 or 3 seed, you're playing on Saturday. If you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, you're playing on Sunday, and with the championship game being on Monday. Wouldn't you like to just play 2 games and win the championship? That's why this bracket has been formed like this. It's to kind of eliminate the dead weight for the NCAA tournament. So if you're the 1 or 2 seed, you're playing on Sunday. You win, you're playing on Monday. Worst case, you're playing on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, you might get a little edge. You might get a little rhythm over the 1 or 2 seed. Depends on which team you get. If you get a team like Marshall last year on the women's side that went 4 days with wins, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't think would happen the way this bracket is designed, but Marshall won 4 before eventually bowing out last year. Text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got more coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We're here at Menards Bank Sale, asking shoppers what they're putting in the bag to get 15% off.
Paint,
batteries,
tools,
toilet paper,
extension cords, grocery items,
hardware for my cabinets,
snack items, crackers, and some canned goods stuff.
Shop vac supplies, toothpaste, cereal, coffee, dog treats. I've got a lot of stuff to grab.
The list goes on, but the sale ends January 24th. Hurry in for Menards 15% off bag sale. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy, Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky. Want to shop 24 hours a day? Cozy up with a cup of cider and browse our full inventory anytime at markporterautogroup.com. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We just got, just a couple of moments ago, the comments from Marshall head coach Cornelius Jackson, his weekly address to the media wrapping up not that long ago. So let's hear just a few minutes of what Coach had to say. He traditionally opens with a statement, and then he also has with him, let's see, I think he's got Wyatt Fricks with him as well. Let's hear what Coach had to say at his presser just not that long ago.
From Coach Jackson as we head into a 4-game homestand, starting with Coastal Carolina on Wednesday.
Big week coming up, obviously. Anytime you play at home, you want to protect your home court. So, big week coming up. We coming off a tough loss at Georgia State, which I thought decision-making cost us. We can't put them on the line 25 times in the second half and expect to win the game, especially on the road. So, really big week coming up. We had a good day today at practice. Looking forward to another one tomorrow and give ourselves an opportunity to win on Wednesday.
Coach, you mentioned post-game about that fine line you walk between running sets, trying to run clock, but also keeping your foot on the gas. Is that a hard thing you kind of just got to jump through when you're coaching and you're playing in those late game situations?
Did I mention that?
I thought you said something about running sets and
I think that was 2 games ago, Keith. Yeah. No.
Those late game situations are so important on the road.
For sure. I mean, it's a fine line. It's a fine line in between being disciplined and going fast and playing how we play. Again, I thought at Georgia State it got away from us because we fouled. We would make a run, and then we would be undisciplined and make bad decisions, starting with the technical. I thought that changed the game. They went on a 32-12 run from the technical. Did that lose us the game? Absolutely not. But that was a huge shift in momentum. And then we had talked about keeping those guys off the line, right? Because they're at the line, the clock has stopped, and they're a really good free throw shooting team. The one kid shoots 94% from the line, Hamilton kid, and we probably put him there 8 to 10 times in the second half. So that's hard to overcome, but we're obviously not going to let that game define us. We've been having a pretty good year. This is just a bump in the road, and we look forward to redeeming ourselves and coming back and playing well this week at home.
Well, I could ask you about the game you had down there. It seems like you're always pretty comfortable playing there. I think last year you had a great game down there as well. Just what went into it for you?
It's just one of those things. I mean, it's nice playing in front of my friends and family, just being back home, but it's just
coming in with the mindset of knowing what I got to do to win every game. I think we got to get guys kind of buying into that a little bit more, understanding the physicality and playing with discipline and things of that sort. I mean, it was fun, like I said, playing in front of my friends and family, and I had them coming up to me after the game, "Oh, good game, Wyatt." But I told them, I'm like, we lost. Like, it only means so much to me if we don't win. So it was, like I said, it was a good game. Played my best, enjoyed my friends and family after the game. But like I said, it was a game we shouldn't have dropped.
Coach, have you been able to watch any film on Coastal Carolina? So what stands out about them going into this matchup?
Yeah, you know what? Watched them over the weekend. Once we got back, watched them today. They're guards. You know, they have a good team, a talented team, but their guards are really talented. You know, their guards. They have a three-headed monster. You know, who all can dribble, pass, and shoot. They can put up big numbers. Leading the pack is the kid transfer. He played 2 years at Clemson. And then he played at Boston College, and now he's their leading scorer. So not to take away from the other guys, but their guards are really, really good.
When you look at it, you know, you don't want to lose any game, but it's kind of best case scenario, right? I mean, it's a quicker turnaround. You play on Wednesday, and you're coming back kicking off a homestand. So it's got to be a little bit of solace. You can kind of erase it pretty quickly, get back to work.
Yeah, you know, as a competitor, you hate to lose any game, and especially a game that, you know, that you thought you should have won, right? But at the same time, like I said, you know, we're not going to let that game define us. It's a bump in the road, and now we have to protect home court. And just because we come back home, we can't relax and think it's going to be easy because Coastal Carolina is talented. Like I said, they have the three-headed monster. The Beetle kid is as good as they get. You know, he had 25 his last time out, but he can easily go for 30 or 40. So we must, you know, be ready to roll on Wednesday, but we have to win tomorrow. I thought we had a solid practice today, but we have to get the win tomorrow in preparation for Wednesday's game.
Why it's so important, it sounds like a broken record, but to get these home games when you can, it's a good time to have 4 in a row, right, and try to get on a little run here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like what we've been preaching every year I've been here. It's defending home court's important. I mean, I think it was 3 years ago with Tavion and Andy, we dropped a game in double overtime to ULM that would have won us the regular season conference. So being able to win these games at home is really big, and then battling on the road as well.
How big is it to get the fan support too? I mean, the 6-man, you look at conference games, I think the margin of, you know, victory or defeat is like within 5 points. It's 2 possessions every game. It really seems like the home crowd, especially for you all as you all surged in the second half of some games, has really kind of helped you all and pushed you all along in these home games.
No, I mean, it's big. I mean, the fan support is great. And then, I mean, I feel like we have the best environment in the Sun Belt. I mean, I feel like I've seen numbers on Twitter about the average numbers, and ODU gets a lot of fans, but it's not what the CAM is, you know. I mean, we get loud in here. The fans are engaged and stuff like that. So being able to feed off that energy is definitely big. And I mean, it's a lot of these Sun Belt teams come in here and they don't play in front of a lot of fans like that. I mean, you got the Texas States, the ULMs, the fans that might get 1,000 fans in the stands. So having that home environment and a hostile environment on our side is definitely nice.
Coach, what's the benefit just of being here and not having to forget about the games, but just having your guys in the house and being able to, you know, sleep in your own bed?
Yeah, you can sleep in your own bed. You know what? It's getting back in the groove. We had classes started, first day of class today, just kind of getting back in the groove. But the main thing is sleeping in your own bed, getting your rest, staying in your routine. You know, sometimes when you're on the road, your routine, you know, you have to find that road routine. But at home, you have it. And again, man, it's because we're at home, it's not going to be easy. Coastal's talented. You look at James Madison, obviously we just played those guys. I mean, so we still have to play really, really well, all right? And we still have to play with the discipline and determination it takes to be successful.
We're going to leave it there. Coach's comments, we will follow up tomorrow. Our text line will be open as well. We're going to give you another chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Herd take on Coastal Carolina. Stay by your phones. We're going to make one of you a winner coming up next. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive. I'm your host, Paul Swann. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.